So I can tell you one thing. I don't live in Stockholm, but if you live in Stockholm, there will never be no soapers. They like shower 3 times a day or something like that. So it's interesting about veganism. We're going to have we can start talking about veganism forever. I think because you had Oatly up there, and one of the things about Oatly is that we weren't about animals. And we probably did more for the vegan movement than a lot of companies. And we didn't have an animal element to it. We had another element to it. Anyway, this is probably a difficult crowd to talk about that title. It's like pretty stupid not to have a marketing department. It's me, introduced already. Sometimes I wore the cow head in commercials. It was very hot. So I'm the Chief Creative Officer of Oatly. We have a creative department. We don't have a marketing department. We call it the Oatly Department of Mind Control. We do it very seriously, but we're not very serious. So for those of you who don't know about what we do, we make something called oat milk. And we have been making oat milk for 30 years, like back when the vegans were getting started. Way before it was cool to be drinking oat milk. It was some researchers in the University of Lund who found lactose intolerance in humans, and they said, what should we make milk from instead that would be actually better for humans? And they tested everything and they found oats. So this was some of our original packaging. And then my friend, Tony Peterson, it's always great to have a friend who becomes CEO of a company. I promise you it's the best thing ever. He became CEO of Oatly, and we did something really simple. We found a way to explain what oat milk was. And it's basically you take oats and you make milk. You don't take oats and put it through the body of a cow as a pre-processing unit and make milk. Efficiency, we all understand that. And then this line here, it's like milk but made for humans. Because everyone in this room knows that cow's milk is made from baby cows. 99 of 100 biologists will tell you that. One you can buy. So we did this, and then we pissed off the Swedish milk lobby. I mean, this is a bully organization. I mean, they own the entire Sweden. And they got really angry with us. So they sued us. And I thought it was really funny when the lawsuit came in. It was 174 pages. They had read the entire 14,000-word website that I had written myself, and I thought, wow, a whole team of lawyers learning about oat milk. This is fun. This is what they sued us for. It's misleading. Milk does not come out of the ass of a cow. That makes sense, I agree. And this just makes milk feel old-fashioned and unneeded. Thank you. What they didn't know was when your friend's a CEO and you're 40 people in the middle of a field in Sweden, this is the only strategy document that we had. Because you're trying to make oat milk popular to people who don't even know what oat milk is. And so we just said, like, there's good companies and evil companies. We're going to be the best company in the world. And then there's scared shitless companies, and there's fucking fearless companies. We need to be just fucking fearless, like, on everything. And most of the companies are there. We all know we get scared. There's a brief, there's approvals, all those things. So that was an advantage for us. Monsanto, if we remember them, they would, spray all the fields, everyone would die, and then they would sue the state of Hawaii. They were like one of our idols. We want to be as fearless as them, but we want to be good and not bad. So what happens is that when they sued us, we just took because we were like a good company, we just took the entire website and took the entire lawsuit and put it on a website so everyone could read exactly what they sued. And then we took out full-page ads in all the Swedish morning papers that basically said, more and more Swedes are drinking oat milk. Not so strange that the milk industry wants to quiet us down. And then, because my friend is Tony, the CEO, we convinced him to sing a song in an oat field. Because, when you know friends, you know that, like, secretly he's, like, going back in his house and trying to record music. So I chance to make him a hero.
It's like milk, made for humans. It's like milk, but made for humans. Wow, wow, no cow. No, no, no. Wow, wow, no cow. No, no, no. It's alright. It's like milk. Oh, it's alright, yeah. It's just like milk. Wow, wow, no cow. No, no, no. Wow, wow, no cow. No, no, no. It's alright. It's like milk.
We later put that on the Super Bowl in 2021, and Tony called me. I didn't tell him. Tony called me, "What are we running on the Super Bowl?" I said, "I told you 3 years ago, if we ever run a Super Bowl spot, I'm going to put you in front of 200 million Americans and let them judge your singing." So anyway, and then we took this line because we were fearless and stuck it everywhere. And of course, one other thing helped us, and a huge report came out by Oxford that said that milk actually wasn't good for the human body and humans shouldn't drink it. So that kind of helped us at the same time. But you can see it let us grow from 20 million US dollars to approximately 800 US dollars. So I always thank the Swedish dairy lobby for our success. Thank you very much. If I go back to my friend, Tony, it's weird because he calls me up one day and he says, John, I'm the CEO of an oat milk company. And I thought he said goat milk company. I said, that's cool, great career choice. I don't know, I'm happy for you. Can we do something, he said. And I said, I don't even know what this stuff is. Can you send me a photo of the packaging? And he sent me this. And then I thought, no way, I'm not getting involved with that. That's the ugliest packaging I've ever seen. I mean, look at the chunky chocolate that goes down in a handprint. I don't get it. But, you know, traditionally pour from the right. So I said, nope, Tony, I'm not going to do it. And he's super, super persistent. So come on, can we do something? So I just said to him, okay, whatever. Can we kill the marketing department? I figured I might as well, maybe I'll go for it. Because I'm from advertising, and so all the CMOs in the audience, this is my payback to you, to prove that you're not worth. And they've ruined all my best. Everyone says, like, put the quotes around work, John, you don't really work. But I thought this would be payback, like, you know, like, I could prove that they're not needed. Tony, he's like, sure, whatever. What could possibly go wrong if you put a bunch of creatives in the center of a food company? Like, we're just hanging out with these food engineers. What could go wrong? And when I say hanging out, we're in the middle of marketing meetings, sales meetings, innovation meetings, product development, supply chain meetings. And we're in all the meetings, not just like, can you make us a nice little brand? We're in everything. Okay, I lied. We're not in very many finance meetings. So what I thought I would share with you is what happens when you do this. I'm serious, there is no marketing. You remove the need for the brief. A lot of you are talking about there's an agency, a client, and sometimes that relationship is great. But imagine if you have all these creatives working on something that they know everything about. Like, it's not like, oh, the snow tire people are here. Let's talk snow tires. Oh, frozen lasagna. It's like all we're talking about is oat milk and how and what it can do to you and what we can work on. And what that does is it builds this really weird, strange collaboration in the company because we're not that scary anymore. We're sitting with innovation. I think our best things we've done is solving business problems in the company. How do we launch this? What products do we need? We're involved in everything. Second thing is that we're allowed to focus on the details, on only the details, and not discussing what the CEO might think. Some of us might recognize this as usually the CEO is a little bit off someplace sitting in a protected office, and you might have commercial and marketing directors, and sometimes they get along, sometimes they don't get along, and they're competing. And they talk back and forth, and then they brief a bunch of agencies, and you get this, which I think is pretty weird. I don't know why they invited me to come. We don't really do any of these things. We'll get into data later, but you know, like target group analysis, it's like, we didn't have any money in the beginning. Who's going to drink this? I don't care if it's a 17-year-old girl or a 45-year-old man. I don't care. It's for everyone. So we don't do any of that. All we do is sit around in a group. We spend all our time listening to what's going on, and then we sit around in the group and talk about how can we move this forward? What are the things that we can do? And when there's an idea that's really good, then the creatives go make it. So we make it and we approve it. There's nobody in the company that can tell us we can't run something, except the CEO, because legally, of course. And it only works because we're so embedded in all, you know, it's like we're just part of every part of the company. The third thing is that when you have this creative department in, we can have an opinion about things. Remember, this is 2012 when we're doing that. The worst thing you could do as a company is have an opinion, because some customers might not like you. And we started running, you know, the only media we had was packaging sides, so we wrote 120 of them. And a lot of this is just like, you know, what we believed as humans, we wanted to stand for as a company. Now, every company has to have a purpose, and they have to have a belief or something. It's not that easy to do. This was real. I'm like, I don't like capitalism, but I'm only good at like one thing, so I might as well use that to do something good. We never spoke about money. We always spoke about how can we contribute to society. And so we just put that. This was like, it takes brains to be stupid. It was like, not only did we put the ingredients on our website, we put every country that they came from. Think of the politics in that. But we just thought, if you're putting something in your body, you have a right to know where it comes from. Yeah, and we don't do animals. So what does this do? This makes us feel like humans and not a logo. I think that's the one thing that you'll find in Oatly all the time. And one thing that I've told everyone, stop acting like a company, stop acting like a logo. We're just a group of humans helping other humans make a few choices. And that builds, of course, massive trust. Fourth thing is, I think we think of ourselves as a voice more than we think of ourselves as a brand. And what that does is it allows us to be ourselves wherever we go. Think about it. Let's launch in the Netherlands. So how do you become more Dutch? God, that's just the worst thing you could do. Try to become more like the Dutch. We would never do that. We would just roll in and be ourselves. And some people will like us and some people won't like us. And I think that's one of our things also is we're okay with the fact that people don't like us. And I'm sure that a lot of people don't like us. We're, you know, trying to replace the sales of dairy milk, the number one commodity and the highest politicized product in the supermarket. Of course, people aren't going to like us. It's okay. But we can be ourselves. And that's why I think, like, wherever we go, we've usually started with just like outdoor things, because people are bored. I mean, we built this brand actually in London. It was the first real market. It was Shoreditch at that time, 10 years ago, was the center of the universe. And we walked around and said, I like that wall, I like that, I like that. And when I thought, like, if we paint a wall, it's going to feel more real, like people really think we care. But we just put up stuff like this, because I noticed that everyone was really bored while they were walking to the bus. So. And no one knew what oat milk was. We actually ran this as a print ad in The Atlantic in the US. It's like everyone who reads The Atlantic thinks they're really smart, and we read this. Yeah, and so, I can promise you no CMO would, but you're doing the same thing, just plenty of room for many other messages. Number 4 is that when you're small and you're mobile and you're flexible and you have a creative department, you can flip anything. Anytime we got sued, it was a new brief. That's fun. So this dairy industry that sued us, it just so happens that 7 of the people on that board were actually in the biggest dairy company. And so a few years later, they're like, these guys are growing way too fast. We have to stop them. So came up with this great campaign. We will take a barista, make him seem really dorky, let him pour from a blue carton and give the milk a fake name like Brilk or Pjolk, fictional names. And then their payoff was only milk tastes like milk. But we're like, that's cool. Legal calls up and says, they haven't registered these names. Do you want me to? So we said, yeah. And then we just took away Oatly and let them do advertising for us. Everyone knew anyway. The funny thing is that when we did that, then they sued us for stealing their names, which we just let the lawsuit go forever, and then we gave them back because we didn't want them. 5, we do stuff that no one would ever do, like no company would do. And in the beginning, Tony told me, like, John, if you want to do a bunch of weird stuff, do it, but don't ruin everyone's life. Put your own phone number, email on the packaging. So I did, because I was stupid. In this case, I didn't, but Jenny, who I was working with, she's like, she was 25. And at 25, you're never going to find a boyfriend. So I said, I got an idea. There's some white space on the inside of the packaging. Let's find you a boyfriend. So, she loved wrestling and didn't eat meat and loved puppy dogs and stuff. And she got a lot. This was a Norwegian up in his man cave that thought she would be right for Jenny. The problem was that Jenny had, of course, already found a boyfriend by the time this got printed on the packaging. So I tried to transition the Norwegian to Sarah, who also had the same problem, but she was less interested. So here's another thing. I was just also, it's like I have some stuff around the house. I got a bike. It's got 2 tires, some old ice skates, barbells. And I had 342 issues of National Geographic from the 90s because, of course, everyone has that. And I thought, recycling center, let's see if we can give these away. So people wrote to me. And I love a National Geographic. So I didn't have a budget. There's no KPI. There's no ROI on this. I just took all my National Geographic to one of the girls in the office, and she read it through the company post. And we just mailed off the 1994 April Everglades edition to someone in Lithuania. We didn't even have distribution in Lithuania. I just thought, like, if someone gets a National Geographic from the 90s from an oat milk company, they're never, ever going to forget it. Then just because my friend is the CEO, we just kind of punked him the whole time, like, just color Tony's face, something light, something dark, and then people colored Tony's face, which I just found funny. I don't even know if he saw all these. Another thing that we did is that, and this is the thing, is we're this weird company where we're nonsensical and not serious, and then we're a science company. Like, everything we do is based on science. So here it was like, we realized that on the nutritional panels on the side, it was legislated in 1994 in the United States. I don't know when it was legislated here. Before then, nobody knew what a carb was. And when we got the information, we started to understand more about what we were putting in our body. So we said, no one's gonna know the climate impact of cow's milk or other foods unless there is a climate footprint on them. So it's like, hey, let's put our climate footprints on everything. It's simple, but you need an LCA, like a life cycle analysis of every single product. You need to reprint everything. Most companies would say, we can do that in 4 years. We got it out in 3 months, actually, and we put our climate footprint on the pack, and we challenged industry to do the same. Funny thing is that I think Unilever maybe started to do that for a while afterwards, so we thought that's a big win, but nothing really happened. This is why timing's everything. We ran this campaign 4 years later that just said, hey, dairy industry, if you show us your numbers, if you give us we'll buy you all the ads and space that you need. Cool thing that happened here is the UK government called us up and asked them to advise on legislation for putting climate footprint. And that's, like, for me, way cooler than sales. Anyway, why don't companies do this? Too risky, too complicated, too time consuming, no focus on sales, and it's way too inconsistent to track. 6, and I'm almost done here, is we stopped playing the game. We didn't play the game, the business game, the company game, the local game. I think creatives are naturally, like, anti-authoritarian. I could have probably been destructive in a different life, but luckily I found something where I could actually use my skill set and then challenge the industry norms in order to drive some societal change. And the best thing is that we all know this, is that I'm so lucky because every sold carton of oat milk is a 49 to 80% win for the planet, depending on which product it is and where it's made in which factory. But let's say roughly in the 60s or 70% over cow's milk. It's built into the product. And it's just like the more we sell them, obviously we have an impact on the planet. But it's actually a win for the planet, every single one. So ask me, is our system a success? From a creative standpoint, I really removed all the filters that get in the way to do great work. So yeah, what did that do? It created this global oat milk phenomenon, which gives us another problem because there's 5,000 oat milks in the world today. Because when marginal becomes mainstream, they come a-running. This is interesting. It's a music festival where we had this scene where we were talking about societal issues, and this was a discussion about milk, and it's pouring down rain, and it's thousands of people in Sweden, a little country like Sweden, standing to hear a comparison. If we keep this true to us, I think that's the whole key. And it doesn't mean that I'm not scared. I'm scared like everyone. Like every idea that we put into the market is scary. We have to remain fearless. And then we'll do things like this, print our packaging upside down, and then forget to tell the country manager that we did it, so that when they call from the factory, they have to stop everything. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.